You're a church kid?
I'm a church kid.
All right, okay.
That was my background, and that's.
Wait a second, something
Yeah.
else is involved in that a little bit. You said Kingston.
Yeah.
So Kingston is it's a political town.
It's very political. It's very artsy, but it's also very public sector when it comes to business. But it's across the board. It's a really unique town. It's beautiful.
So what brought Dad there is, I guess, my question.
Yeah, so he was always in finance.
Okay.
And so there was a company based out of Europe that he was a controller there. So he took an executive position there, and they relocated all of us there.
Okay, so he wasn't in politics or involved with
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. No politics in my family.
That's sort of interesting because it kind of puts you on the outside in that city, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
A little bit. It was weird. Yes and no, because when growing up, my brother was my best friend, and so like our family was always real close.
Okay.
And so we kind of had like our thing going on like internally, and we were given the opportunity to do a lot of stuff. So I never really felt like I was out of something or.
So you weren't looking for connections that way.
Not really. Okay. No, and it was always like I can't say I ever really struggled making friends, I guess. So it was always easy wherever we were to like kind of engage with people. And my parents were always very out in the community in the sense of like wanting to like volunteer or be parts of things, and so that helped for sure.
That was a thing that they did, but was that a thing that they sort of instilled in you as well?
Yeah, I would think so. Like when it got to the point where I saw that I could give some type of value back to like youth group stuff, so like playing in bands and stuff around church stuff, that made me want to do that. And so obviously that stuff's never paid, especially around here. So it was hours and hours invested into like playing in bands, and which is really cool because like kids that grow up in that, you get exposed to things that you wouldn't get to in terms of like equipment and the ability to play on stages you typically wouldn't if you were starting out, in the bar scene or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm very grateful for that. I've seen, not to get too in depth with it, but I've seen church help people really well, and I've seen it destroy people. So where I stand on that now is I'm very much more open-minded, I think, than I was throughout my teens and my early 20s.
Were you like a church kid? Like, was that like a thing that you sort of held on to?
I respected my parents in the sense of their beliefs, and I tried to uphold values that were close to them. But they were very good at letting us figure out our stuff. They were ones that let us fail and let us go out and try crazy stuff. Like we had many times where police would show up at the house.
Really?
Not for crazy stuff. Like
right.
Like there were some times where like I got in a bit of trouble, as you do when you're a teenager.
I don't know, man. I was an asshole kid. I managed to avoid the cops
my
entire life. Yeah.
Ours was we grew up on the lake, and ours was this thing where we competitively wakeboarded when we were teenagers.
Right.
And the people on the lake didn't like our boat and the fact that we were like throwing these monster wakes. So every time that somebody would show up, it usually had something to do with either we built a new rail in the lake, so we were like building stuff in the water.
Right.
And so we were causing like obstructions, I guess. But it was nice because I also lifeguarded, so I knew all of the like city councilors of the small town that we lived in just outside Kingston. So,
right.
I was never
That'll.
Yeah.
I think those stories will come into play later.
Yeah, the bridge was my first offense that was like an actual thing. So
I'm just I'm trying to get a grasp on this because it's interesting to me because